Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And today we're going to go beyond the normal politics in the industry or the breaking news. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Babylon 5 because literally, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, Rach and I just finished watching the last episode of the final season of Babylon 5. And if you haven't watched it yet, it's available on HBO, HBO Now, or Go, or whatever the F they call it these days. Um, and it's supposedly going to be not I guess it's more than a remake, right? A reimagining of Babylon 5 in the work by Michael Straczynski. Straczynski, whatever. Michael, Michael S. Um, the creator of Babylon 5, who wrote the vast majority of the episodes. So, what are my takeaways? Besides the fact it's probably some of the finest science fiction, serialized science fiction you're going to find. Um, I've now watched through the entire series, my first run through, and then on DVD once by myself, second time with my son about, I don't know, 11 years ago, and now with Rach. And I'm looking at it with different eyes this time because I'll tell you the truth. Initially, I didn't like season 5 because the history of Babylon 5 is that it was written for 5 seasons and then it didn't look like they were going to get renewed for season 5. So they condensed what would have been the scripts for seasons or the storyline for seasons 4 and 5 into season 4. And then lo and behold, they got renewed and they had to go a little bit further than they had planned and had to change things up a little bit and move on. And here's the thing season 5 starts out really, really slow. But then it picks up near the end. And then the last episode, which was actually filmed, I think, at the conclusion of season 4, so they had this set piece got ready to go, whether or not they got picked up, was really good. Really well done. Now we have to go on and watch the movies. But what are my takeaways other than it's a really good science fiction? Well, they don't talk about it, and Wikipedia, uh, you know, some people swear by, and other people swear at Wikipedia. It's a decent reference for a lot of things, but they talk about it's got themes and influences. What I don't really see much of is the nod to the influence of Tolkien. The Minbari are pretty much elves, okay, and they sail across the sea, kind of. It's referenced in the final episode as to how they deal with death, and I thought that was kind of interesting. But they do make some pretty good points in Wikipedia about other stuff. Um, Order versus chaos. Now, when we think of order versus chaos in RPGs, yes, you can go back. I saw it first with AD&D, right? Law versus order, law and order versus chaotic evil. So it's like, oh, they were lawful or they were chaotic. Lawful followed orders, right? Lawful was an organized society, and chaos was chaotic. It was anarchy. But then I started reading the Eternal Champion books by Michael Moorcock. And then I got to see where this initial influence came in from D&D. You can definitely see the Vorlon, right, as the I don't know, the gods of order, and the shadows as the gods of chaos from the Eternal Champion series of books, the different, whether it was Elric or Quorum or whatnot. You can definitely see them as the creatures or the beings or the powers that would have been playing behind the throne, manipulating, and in the end, trying to show that their method is best. Even in Babylon 5, this kind of happens. Like we look at Elric was like a fight over his soul, right? And all those Eternal Champion books, it's really what it comes down to is the soul of the individual is being fought over. Well, the the soul or the souls of not just humanity but all intelligent life are being fought over by the Vorlon and the Shadows. So I found that to be an interesting view on it. They also go over War and Peace, religion, right? When we play D&D, all right, even before deities and demigods, it was this kind of thing like, well, there are gods that was touched upon with the Greyhawk box set, which was probably the first time I saw gods get touched upon. And then you got deities and demigods, which when they picked that up, and it was like, well, gods you can kick the asses of. Never should have been started out. But in any case, you got to see different pantheons, different belief systems. Even though it was gamified, it was based to some extent on real world mythology, ancient religions. And it was interesting, in my opinion, to see how religion played a fairly major part in Babylon 5's mythology, right? Especially with the intelligent races all having their own religions, all having their own ceremonies, their own superstitions, certainly material that you can use in your not just creating a game world, but embellishing a game world. You find a setting that's published by a third party publisher or a first party publisher. You can watch shows like Babylon 5 and realize that just little bits of, I don't know, it's like spice. You add a little bit of flavor to one of these religions, and suddenly they come to life. Suddenly they become more real. And whether it is uh, a certain practice, I think one of the more interesting episodes wasn't actually written by Michael Straczynski. It was written by Neil Gaiman. If you've read comic books, I'm sure that you've read The Sandman. Neil Gaiman wrote that for many years. Going back, I'm showing my age. I mean, it was new when I came out, but he also wrote a lot of novels. Uh, American Gods was one of the series that he was involved with. Good Omens on Amazon Prime. He was the co-author of the series of books that was sorry, the one book that series was written and based upon. And Neil Gaiman had a very interesting episode that was based upon religion. And again, these aren't things that you need to go deep into. Just a little bit of spice, one little bit where your players are going to go, "Oh, I recognize that. That's Saint Cuthbert's. You know, that's what priests of Saint Cuthbert do that, or whatever, or followers of." So I think there's a lot you can take away from Babylon 5, not just good character generation, but on how to keep a storyline going and how to wrap up a storyline. Okay. I mean, probably something that we're not very good at when it comes to RPGs. And the reason why I say that is like, listen, if you're running a sandbox, there's no storyline to wrap up. But sometimes you have an overarching uh, story that goes behind your sandbox. When it wraps up, your players should know it wrapped up. It should be a little climatic and it should be a little bit celebratory. And you should be able to say, hey, it's been accomplished and it's great. And then you move on to the next story arc. I think sometimes we miss that. So just throwing those thoughts out there, little ideas. So if you have access to HBO, I strongly recommend you watch it. Strongest seasons are seasons 2 through 4. Season 1 is not bad at all, but it takes a while if you get your feet underneath you. Season 5 starts out slow, but finishes a lot better. But it's a great series. It's certainly a great series. Now I probably gotta go back and watch Deep Space Nine, which I always felt was like a cheap ripoff of Babylon 5, and it probably was. But I did like some of the characters from the episodes that I watched. I have to probably go back and try to watch that in order and see if I can follow that storyline. Just random thoughts. Folks, thank you so much for watching. If you like what we do here, not just me, I do live streams. I have co hosts on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. If you like what we do, subscribe, like, it helps. It really does. Get the word out. I do this, I'm up, it's a new episode every day. This is a little bit more gaming tangential than some of them. But hey, if you're following the Paizo deal, I may have more thoughts on that for tomorrow. I say the Paizo deal, you know, the strike that's not a strike, and the union that may not be a union just yet. I've been talking to some people, and I've got some interesting theories on what's going on. So maybe we'll throw that out tomorrow. All right, folks. On that note, as always, we're in the midst of the world of COVID. I can't stress this enough. Right? Use your common sense. I happen to be vaccinated. That's due to my number of comorbidities. For me, the comorbidities and the need to protect me kind of outweighed what potential risks there might be from the vaccine. You know your health risks. Take actions accordingly. Okay, but in any case, common sense to keep yourself, your family, your friends, your loved ones healthy and safe. Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, and God willing, I shall be back again tomorrow. So there you go. There's the Babylon 5. All right, folks. On that note, later.